to CNR Travels. In today's episode, I'm going to go over the 6th country that we went to over our 6.5 months in Southeast Asia, and that is Cambodia. Our impressions of Cambodia was obviously it is just the essence of what Southeast Asia is. Chaotic, mad, but also very controlled at the same time. Cambodia is a mixture of Thailand, Laos and Vietnam, all jam-packed into this one little country compared to all those other countries. Charlie and I only went to Phnom Penh and Siem Reap whilst our time in Cambodia. We only spent about 10 days there, and as a result, we cannot give you a total overview of this country. However, those two areas will definitely be on your list. I would also suggest going to Battambang, Kampot and Koh Rong. And despite Cambodia's dark history, the people are super friendly, helpful and just lovely. When gaining yourself a visa, you have two options. You have either a visa on arrival or an e-visa. We opted for an e-visa just because we found it a little bit more efficient and kind of better for us, but also because it was $1 cheaper. The process to getting the e-visa is fairly simple. You just go onto their website, type in some details, pay for it, and then hopefully in about 3 to 5 days you get that sent to you. The visa that you want to be applying for is called Visa T or Visa Tourist, and that is $36 per person. When it comes to SIM cards, the best SIM card in Cambodia from my research prior to going was AIS. This SIM card is the same that you would want to get for Thailand. Also, that was our plan when we got to the airport, but it was very, very chaotic once we got to Phnom Penh. There was a man on our flight who was like, "Where are you going? We can get a taxi together." And we were like, "Yeah, go on then." But he didn't really give us the time to find this SIM card, so we ended up just going with the one that he suggested, which was Metphone, which for the 2 weeks we were there came to $8 per person. In Cambodia, most of your money, weirdly, will be taken up by the attractions. So unlike other countries where you're paying out mainly for food or transport, Cambodia is the attractions, which was a total shocker for us. And my reasoning behind it is I think it's because they're in dollars. And that's why I think they can slightly amp up the pricing. An example of this is we wanted to go to the Angkor National Museum, but entry per person was $12, and then to get an audio guide was $7, and we just thought that's just way out of our budget. And you might say, well, you don't actually need the audio guide, but we felt like if we were going to do this, an audio guide would have been necessary, because in Cambodia, the museums don't tend to have a lot of writing for you to read in English. When eating out, we generally went to quite touristy areas, and as a result, we probably paid more than what other people would hope to pay. Nevertheless, it is still pretty cheap, and if you're willing to eat a bag of bugs for $1, then you're absolutely winning at life. When it comes to time, Charlie and I spent 10 days in Cambodia. We spent about 5 days in Phnom Penh and 5 days in Siem Reap. The timing that we gave probably wasn't necessary. It was just because we allocated that amount of time for Cambodia. In terms of Phnom Penh, you probably need about a couple days to get around everything. In Siem Reap, we would suggest taking 2 days to explore and going for the 3-day Angkor Wat exploration. I'm suggesting taking 3 days to do the Angkor complex or Angkor Wat, purely because we went to a 1-day tour and it just didn't feel as magical as everyone else made it out to be. That might just be because we allocated 1 day, it might be because of the tour itself, or it might have been just generally that we went to the wrong temples. But we would say, if you're going for 3 days, really spend out, go to get one of those really fancy tuk-tuks, ones that you can rely on, that speak English, that really give you everything out of that. Because that is the main thing that you will be doing in Cambodia. The best 2 mode of transport when in Cambodia are tuk-tuks or cars. And the apps that you want to be booking these through are Grab and Pass app. The tuk-tuks are not the fastest way to get around. They may take what is a 20-minute journey to a 50-minute journey, but they are by far the cheapest option you will have. So spending between maybe 50 pence to £4.30 on a trip, it's extremely cheap. Unlike other areas where the attractions and food are all quite split apart, in Cambodia everything is quite close and so in walking distance. But again, if the tuk-tuks are that cheap, why would you walk? In terms of the roads, they're pretty okay. In the main areas, you will find quite spacious and concrete roads, but anywhere outside of the main city, it will just be dirt tracks. Do bear in mind that there will be potholes, but luckily enough, there is not too much traffic on the road, so if you're a pedestrian, you will not be crossing the road threatened for your life. During our stay in Cambodia, the weather was crazy hot.
It's meant to be 37 today.
No, 38.
38 today, feels like 6 million.
Yeah, pretty hot. So as it's quite a circular country, quite small in relation to the countries around it, and where it is placed geographically, the country stays pretty consistent in its heat throughout the year, as well as throughout the country itself. And because of the intensity of the heat, it just made us less inclined to do more stuff during a day. So what would have usually taken us about 2 days was spread over about 5 days. So the best time to go to Cambodia is between December and January. During our stay in Cambodia, we were lucky enough that we didn't have any issues communicating with the locals in English. I, however, personally found that the accents are quite strong to understand, but then again, this is coming from someone that struggles with literally any accent going other than a southern English accent. So yeah, I'm just shit when it comes to accents. Again, not a great example to be using, but because we were only in Cambodia for 10 days, we didn't have a lot of opportunity to wash our clothes. But when we did, we were lucky enough to have an Airbnb that again also had a washing machine in it. And as always, if you're wanting a little more information on Cambodia, including things to do and where to stay tuned as we will be sorting out several blog posts. Alternatively, you can look at our YouTube channel where we have plenty of episodes on this. If you're wanting also information on Thailand, Laos, Vietnam, Malaysia and Indonesia, that will also be on the website as well as our YouTube channel, so check those out if you're wanting a little bit more information. In next week's episode, we are moving off of Southeast Asia because we have finally completed that part of this series, and we will be moving on to our new adventure because next week we are heading to